Hey traders, welcome to Charts and Coffee. Hope everyone is doing well. All right, so we have a very busy pre-market going on in terms of a very busy pre-market this morning in terms of all the data. And forget the earnings for a moment. Remember, we're still getting a steady flow of data hitting the markets aside from earnings. Everything from the European Central Bank, the ECB this morning, their monetary policy statement, their decision on rates, their press conference, very much what we saw with the FOMC statement, Powell press conference, moving on to core durable goods. And at 10 o'clock, still to come, pending home sales. If you took a look at the home sales number from Wednesday, the new home sales, it's only a medium heat hot zone in terms of volatility, volume, overall impact. However, if you kept an eye on, and we did a little bit of this yesterday in the room, if you kept an eye on the ITB, which is the high concentration weighted version of home builders, home construction, and XHB, you'll see we've got some movement going on there in the likes of names like Pulte and Lennar, DH. So keep an eye on some of those. Really interesting uptrend there. And yet another hot zone we have for that sector. All right. So let's see what else we have here in terms of going into today. Again, that pending home sales, and then we're just free to trade the morning and the aftermath of the FOMC. And then what is it that we have in terms of our earnings? Now, I've got a few questions on Estimize. Gang, I'm a paying anything I show you all, gang, whether that be seasonals, whether that be the TradesViz, Trade Tracker. I pay for these. So I'm not in any way pitching things that I don't pay for. I pay for this Estimize. I'm going to show you my login in. I use my StockTwits login, and I've got a quarterly subscription to this particular service. And I like this a lot for two huge reasons. These are the best whisper numbers that I have found on the interwebs. And this particular service allows me to put together, and there might be others, I don't know, but this service allows me to put a curated list of the symbols that I want to follow earnings on, not a random list of whatever's coming out this week, which I find pretty much next door to useless. I need to know, we need to know, gang, what's coming out in the next 6 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 weeks, not the next 2 days. And a lot of traders struggle with earnings because they're not able to use a tool like this with this sort of advanced heads up, right? So be aware that when we're looking at this list, I'm not interested in today or tomorrow or any of that, right? What I'm looking at is what's coming up in 2 weeks. So if today is and this, by the way, gangs, comes straight from the Countdown Trader. We've had that article up for a couple of years now. It's the 642 earnings window. So yeah, I'm talking my approach. I'm talking my book for sure. What we want to do here, I'm going to pull up the Countdown Trader. And so if you haven't ever checked that out, here we go. If you Google Countdown Trader 642, just Google Countdown Trader 642 is the first thing that comes up. All right, we've had this out there, I guess, for a couple of years now. And this is that window, right? The 642 is not about an entry strategy, but about a window of opportunity. And it's all explained here. But the only way I can make this a reality and show you all how to make this a reality is by saying, hey, can we look at today, which is the 27th, right? And then that would mean if I'm looking at the 27th, I'm not actually looking for earnings any sooner than the 10th, right? So that puts names like maybe Disney, but Home Depot, TJ Maxx, Costco, Walmart, kind of on the very, very edge of that window where implied volatility starts to favor options writers, right? And I'm not talking about taking a binary trade on whichever way the explosion is going to be. I'm not going to reduce my trading to a scratch off ticket, right? What we want to do is say, where are the trends? Where are those runs or rallies into earnings? And how soon do we need to be aware of the disadvantage that we have by being a holder of, say, a long call? Because implied volatility, the timing of knowing where it favors option writers is really important. So anyways, I got a lot of questions on that. So that's a quick breakdown of the hot zones we're dealing with. It's a very typical morning type scan that I do. And that's really how I gain my pre-market edge, right? Okay, so next up is a question. All right, let's jump into the questions from, it's coming from our YouTube. Hey there, Dean. The EU 830. Sure. So, Dean, I mean, this is going to be the euro, the 6E, the question that you have. That's going to be absolutely X marks the spot for volatility, right? So you'll see here in the hot zones that I have in the notes, what I'm looking at is not just the ECB event, but also the press conference that happens 30 minutes after the monetary statement is released, quarter past the hour. So as you can see, what's happening with the euro is a little bit of weakness, but the timing on this is the hot zone. The trend that has been confirmed by 8:30 Eastern is a downtrend. So at this point, I've got to be bearish, right? So that's what's happened in the wake of that 8:15 event. And of course, any weakness in the euro is strength in the dollar, right? So that's that inverse or negative correlation that's so important, because remember, US dollar basket is really 58% euro. Your US dollar euro connection is the clearest view into what the other is going to do, right? Okay, so next up is moving on. Praveen asks, to the best of your knowledge, you are a macro technical trader. The best of my knowledge, I'm a macro. I mean, I understand rate of change macro, Praveen. Yes, and I like to think of myself as a chartist or technician. Sure. I think the label is probably less important, but let's see what the rest of the question is. Can I point to the direction for macros and the link with more? Praveen, are you asking how to trade the way I trade? That's in the mastery. I'm not quite certain I follow the question. Can I point to the direction for macros and the link with market? So macroeconomics, Praveen, are not headlines to me. Macroeconomics, if you Google it, is inflation, growth, jobs, and all these different metrics that we can study that happen in an economy. And if I look at a rate of change, I'm relying on the data, not opinion, which is sadly what most traders do. So if we can have the discipline of data determining our opinion and of trend and volatility, we're in good shape. So the calendars are a good place to start. Understanding where growth, inflation, and jobs, which trend you're seeing there, that's a good place to start. And then if you want to know how I trade, and I apologize if I'm not following the question. You know, the coffee might not have sunk in yet. Yeah, everything goes on in the mastery, right? If you want to know, Rog, how is it that you're using all this data? It goes on in the mastery. And by the way, gang, that's probably as good a time as any for me to mention that next Wednesday, so less than a week from today, August 2nd, 8 p.m., and no drama here, gang. We're starting the one and only trial that we've had in recent memory. It will be the only trial for this year, if not for at least the next 12 months, is starting on August 3rd. It's a $7 trial. And I'm putting the Trish Boss and I are putting the webinar together right now. You can sign up for that webinar at simplertrading.com/opportunity. But let me give you a little insight into what I'm looking at, because I'm building the webinar right now. First of all, I'm going to show you my trades viz. I'm going to go back and I'm actually capturing probably more charts than I normally would for a webinar. I am going to grab every single alert that we have sent the Sector Secrets Mastery people, our members, my VIPs, this room that I love so much. I spend so much time in this room. I'm going to grab every alert that we've made. I think it's going back through July, right? So just this month, right? Nothing we did a year ago or 3 months ago. We're trading the now market, right? So I'm going to show you every single chart with the alerts that we have taken. Why is that important to me? Because I want you to see, I'm not going to grab a well-chosen example. I'm not going to grab the 9 winners that we've had and ignore losers. I'm going to show you good, bad, and ugly because we are focused on account growth, right? I don't want to talk about the percentages of one trade. Good for Raghee, right? Or I don't want to talk about trades that have gone off in some corner that you all weren't aware of. That doesn't help anybody. We're going to be talking about trades that we have put on with members and managed risk on. I am very excited about this. I cannot wait to show you. And I'm hoping that when you all see this, you can see it's the accumulation. Don't be tough on yourself for 1 or 2 bad days or 1 or 2 bad weeks of trading, and step back and look at the whole. And I'm hoping that when we share this together, it'll make a lot more sense. So the closer we get to August 2nd, gang, I am very, very excited about what we're going to share with you all. And then that kicks off our trial, right? So what better way to show you what we're doing in the mastery than to we'll show you what we're doing in the mastery. So Praveen, if you're interested, that's kind of the best answer I can give you. If you're looking for how are you making these decisions and so forth. So again, simpletrading.com/opportunity. Okay. Next question. Hey there, Stephen. How are you? Have your multi-chart set up in TOS on TradingView? Stephen, no. I love TradingView. We use it a lot, but the function of that web-based platform does not have flexible grids, or at least not yet, although they're always improving the platform. The ability to have that flexi grid in TOS is rather unique between the two of them. You can have 8 charts. It's not quite as flexy, but I believe you can have flexible, sorry. But you can have up to 8 charts. So yeah, we can kind of do it, but it won't look identical to TOS. I want to make sure I'm really clear on that. It will not look identical to my multi-chart on TOS, but you can have a variation of it. And when we do our tech sessions, the Lorna bot can show you the alternative. And by the way, in our mastery, every single Monday, we start the week off with a noon tech session. So we do our trades in the morning like we do 5 days a week, but on Monday specifically to start that week off, the bot has an hour-long tech session, and she can definitely help you out there in terms of, okay, how do I recreate something similar to what you see on my Thinkorswim with TradingView, which I believe everyone should have TradingView running somewhere. It's a fantastic platform. Thank you for the question, Stephen. I appreciate it. All right. AM is asking from our free training room, what are the resistant levels for the S&P today? Well, it depends on the time frame, right, AM? So if you're looking at the 5-minute time frame, we've got an uptrend. So when we kick off our session in the Simpler Futures room and in my Sector Secrets Mastery this morning, I'm going to be focusing on the long side. You can see that we have really nice bullish structure here. Multi-trend is green. When we take a look at where resistance can be, so AM, what I usually recommend folks do is go grab my free Darvis 2.0. It's a modernization of the classic Nicholas Darvis box. And those are going to plot automatically the best support and resistance levels on your chart. The reason I say they're the best is they're extremely time tested. This is a 60-plus-year-old process that we're still talking about today, right? So there's a lot of faith in this thing that is very much a part of classic charting. We've automated it. So now we've taken the subjectivity, we've taken the error, and we've added the speed and the accuracy. So there's your support and resistance. And on a 5-minute, it's sitting at about 46.34.5. Now, let's contrast that with something a little bit longer term. And that would be on the daily, right? So let's open up the daily time frame. And just bear with me while I slide this 60 over. So on the daily, I'm not looking for resistance until we reach the daily price movement range. And that's coming in at about 46.53 3/4, right? So it depends on the time frame, right? Because the time frame will then dictate where volatility levels are, where support and resistance is. Darvas levels on the daily are going to look inherently different than Darvas levels on the 5-minute because the chart patterns, the price patterns, I should say, I'm not a fan of chart patterns, the price patterns. And remember, gang, Darvas is a price pattern, which is to say it has the objectivity of open, high, low, close. It's price based, not shape based, right? It's not trend line based. So the Darvas levels on a 5 are inherently going to be different than a daily because the price patterns are going to be different. So that's the way I would look at the resistance, specifically AM on the S&P. Thanks for the question. All right, next up is on our, okay, so student of truth asks, so much noise and conflicting ideas in trading. I would say in anything, student of truth, it doesn't matter if it's training, trading, nutrition, health, everything, right? We're going to have conflicting ideas. People are going to have their own approach. So yes, I agree. How do you filter it? What truly matters? Student, the place to start is ask yourself, what's going to be the main driver for analysis? Some traders like to be a little bit more headline driven. Nothing wrong with that. Some traders are really much more macroeconomic or data driven, and they want to look at longer term horizons. I think a lot of this student has to start with the individual trader, has to start with you, my friend. What time frame do you want to trade? What time horizon do you want to trade? What style do you want to use? Which is to say, there's no one approach that's going to magically lead to success, right? The only thing that every trader has to master, and I do mean the only thing, is the holy grail, which is position sizing and risk management, which really is under the same umbrella. After that, it's just a matter of what you personally want to do, right? So I don't think it's a matter of what's good or bad or what truly matters. It's how does the market communicate best to you, right? Is it indicators? Is it price action? Is it, whatever it is? And that's, I think, the most difficult thing for most traders to figure out. How is it that I want to trade? And then once you've determined that, now the easy part is, well, I shouldn't say easy. Now the vital part is, how do I manage risk? That's the most important. And I'll tell you what, there's a book called Market Wizards. It's not going to teach you how to trade, but it teaches you the most important thing. In that book, I think on average about 3 dozen, there's a number of wizards books out there. The original Market Wizards is still the best to me. And in that book, I guess about 2 or 3 dozen traders, legendary traders, are interviewed. And you'll realize that every single one of them has a different approach to trading. Long-term, short-term, floor, system, you name it. And the one thing that they all agree on, all of them, is that risk management is the most important thing. So that's why I echo the things that I was influenced by, decades ago, which is many, many ways to win at this game, but really only one way to lose. And that is overlooking the importance of position sizing and risk management, which, by the way, is when you join the Mastery Gang, because I believe so much in that. In other words, the only that's going to keep us winning, and the best thing that I could ever impart on a trader is, how do I manage risk? And I call it the Holy Grail because it really is. And so the first thing you get when you join the room is a series of notes and videos where I show you how to take your account, right, and determine contract size. Because no one can tell you how many contracts to trade, right? That's not just incorrect. It's irresponsible to say, hey, trade 2 contracts for this, because I don't know what necessarily, right, the account size, the risk tolerance is for each individual of the hundreds and hundreds of members in the mastery. So I give you all a spreadsheet. I give you all a process so you can say, oh, this is how I quantify risk and manage it. All right. So that is it. All right. So gang, just like that, we are just about out of time. So that is the most important thing, right? I can't wait either, Robert. We're going to go through all, every single day. I'm going to give the folks in the trial, and of course, my beloved members, we're going to have a task every single day. I'm going to give a little bit of homework assignments. Those 30 days in August really become summer school while we're live trading. All right. Next. Oh gosh. Oh, it's up. Time's up. Sorry, gang. I will see you next time tomorrow. Same time, same station. 9:20, 9 to 9:20. Have a great one. Heads up for our hot zones. Take a look at the economic calendar at Estimize. It is absolutely going to prepare you for earnings better than anything out there that I have found. All right. Be good to each other, gang. I will see you tomorrow, and I'll definitely see you on Wednesday. Until then.